Dear Kiddo, take my hand into darkness, the Thong, the Spaniard, and my optimistic idiocy. Ah, Kiddo, let me take you back to the unforgettable moment when I handed Mom a pair of white Thong underwear and got the kind of look usually reserved for discovering a cockroach in your soup. It was a mix of disgust, disbelief, and possibly, just possibly, a spark of premeditated chaos. Because in hindsight, I now suspect that Mom, in her unique brand of psychological theater, planted the Thong. Why? Maybe for kicks, maybe for control, or maybe just because she wanted to see me squirm. After that debacle, I decided to ask her about Europe. And, oh boy, did Pandora's box fly open? The Spaniard in Paris, a 2-for-1 deal. Mom admitted to sleeping with someone during her European adventure. In her journals, which, for the record, I should never have read, but also couldn't resist, she gleefully described him as a Spaniard living in Paris. She literally wrote that it was a two-birds-with-one-stone situation, like she was checking off nationalities on a Eurotrip bingo card. Apparently, Eduardo, because of course his name was Eduardo, kept apologizing for laying his weight on her during their escapades. Mom found this highly conscientious, which, knowing her, is likely code for bad sex, but he made up for it by being polite. I imagine Eduardo whispering, "Lo siento," while Mom plotted her next conquest. It's both hilarious and deeply unsettling. The almost conquests, German efficiency, and Irish charm. Eduardo wasn't the only planned notch on Mom's international belt. She also had a German guy lined up, whom she met at a bar in Dublin, and an Irish guy waiting for her in Galway. Apparently, though, my email, sent while she was mid-fuck Europe mission, stopped her from sealing the deal with either of them. At the time, I believed her. Now, I'm not so sure. Mom has a talent for selectively editing her stories to suit the narrative she's spinning at any given moment. It's hard to say what's more bizarre, that my heartfelt email supposedly halted her European escapades, or that she told me this in the first place under the guise of radical honesty. Radical honesty. The weaponized truth. Let me explain Mom's approach to radical honesty. It wasn't so much about being truthful as it was about dropping verbal grenades into our relationship. She'd tell the truth, sure, but it was always the kind of truth that left a crater. There was no, "I had a nice time in Paris with Mom." It was, "I had a nice time in Paris and also slept with Eduardo," who was super apologetic about his body weight. Radical honesty wasn't about integrity. It was about control. Mom used the truth like a scalpel, carving out just enough vulnerability to keep me tethered to her while also holding all the power. The proposal. Dinner at Rio Chama. After the Thong debacle and the Europe confession, I decided the best way forward was to have an honest conversation over dinner. Because I'm a fucking idiot, I thought this would clear the air and set us on a path of mutual trust and exclusivity. I took Mom to Rio Chama, a nice restaurant where the food is fancy enough to distract you from your emotional turmoil. Over steaks and wine, we hashed it all out. I proposed that we commit to each other, be exclusive, and explore the depths of our chemistry and love. Mom, ever the performer, agreed. She smiled, held my hand, and said all the right things. For a moment, I thought we were on the same page. I left that dinner feeling optimistic, committed, and ready to build a future together. The comedy of optimism. Looking back, I want to slap my past self. How could I have been so naive? Mom had just told me she went to Europe with the express purpose of sleeping with other people, admitted to at least one conquest, and yet there I was, convinced that we could build something solid. It's like agreeing to buy a house right after someone tells you it's infested with raccoons. Optimism, kiddo, is a hell of a drug. Lessons learned. The fine line between love and lunacy. Here's the thing about love. It makes you stupid. It makes you blind to red flags, deaf to alarm bells, and willing to believe in a version of reality that only exists in your head. That's what happened to me with Mom. I wasn't just in love. I was in denial. I wanted so badly to believe that we could work that I ignored every warning sign flashing in neon lights. So, kiddo, if you ever find yourself in a situation like this, remember a few things. If someone hands you chaos, don't make it dinner. Love shouldn't feel like a series of negotiations with a terrorist. Radical honesty is a red flag. If someone uses honesty as a weapon, they're not being vulnerable. They're being manipulative. Trust your gut. If it feels off, it probably is. And if it involves thongs mysteriously appearing and disappearing, run. Conclusion: the idiot optimist. In the end, the dinner at Rio Chama wasn't the start of something beautiful. It was the calm before the storm. Mom and I would go on to have plenty of highs and lows, but that night stands out as a perfect snapshot of my optimistic idiocy. I truly believed that love could conquer all, even when love was handing me a thong and a list of European men. So, kiddo, take my hand into this darkness and laugh with me. Life is messy, love is absurd, and sometimes you just have to accept that you're a fool and move on. Because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. And trust me, laughter is way more fun.